Hello, Lakers Nation. Welcome back to Crazy About the Lakers, your home for the latest Lakers news, trade rumors, breaking updates, and everything happening around the purple and gold. If you're a true Lakers fan, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a thing. Now, let's get right into today's update. The Los Angeles Lakers entered the opening day of NBA free agency expecting to make important decisions about the future of their roster, but few could have anticipated the stunning development that quickly became the biggest story of the offseason. According to reports, Lebron James informed the organization that he would not be returning for another season, officially bringing an end to one of the most significant eras in franchise history. After spending 8 seasons in Los Angeles, capturing an NBA championship, breaking countless records, and helping guide the Lakers back into championship relevance, James has reportedly decided that the next chapter of his legendary career will take place somewhere else. For the Lakers, the news represents both the end of an era and the beginning of a completely new one. Since acquiring Luka Doncic, the organization has quietly been preparing for the eventual transition from the LeBron era to a roster centered around its new franchise superstar. While James remained one of the NBA's elite players even into his 40s, the Lakers understood that the future would eventually belong to Doncic. Now, with James reportedly moving on, that transition begins immediately. The front office can now fully dedicate its resources to building a championship-caliber roster around Doncic and Austin Reeves, who recently agreed to a long-term contract extension. Those two players are expected to become the foundation of the Lakers for years to come, and every move made throughout the remainder of free agency will likely be designed to maximize their strengths. Although James' departure marks the end of an unforgettable chapter in Los Angeles, it also opens the door to one of the most fascinating free agency stories in recent NBA history. Wherever James chooses to finish his career instantly becomes one of the league's biggest storylines, and several contenders are expected to explore the possibility of adding one of the greatest players basketball has ever seen. Among the destinations generating the most attention is the Cleveland Cavaliers. A return to Cleveland would carry enormous emotional significance. James was selected first overall by the Cavaliers in the 2003 NBA Draft, transformed the franchise into a perennial contender, and ultimately delivered the city's first NBA championship in more than 50 years when he led Cleveland to its historic comeback over the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 NBA Finals. That championship remains one of the defining moments in NBA history, permanently cementing James' legacy not only within the organization but throughout the city itself. Because of that history, many around the league believe Cleveland would represent the perfect place for James to conclude his extraordinary career. Returning to the franchise where everything began would provide a fitting ending to a journey that has included championships, MVP awards, scoring records, Olympic gold medals, and countless unforgettable performances. From a basketball perspective, the Cavaliers also present an attractive situation. Cleveland has assembled one of the Eastern Conference's strongest rosters, featuring a talented core capable of competing for another championship. Joining an already established contender could allow James to pursue one final title while reducing the physical burden he has carried throughout much of his career. Competing in the Eastern Conference may also prove advantageous compared to remaining in the Western Conference, where the playoff race continues to become increasingly competitive each season. The East still features elite contenders, but many analysts believe Cleveland offers a clearer path toward another finals appearance than several Western Conference alternatives. Another destination that continues generating speculation is the Golden State Warriors. The possibility of James joining longtime rival Stephen Curry has fascinated NBA fans for years. For more than a decade, the two superstars defined an entire era of basketball, facing one another in 4 consecutive NBA Finals and producing some of the most memorable championship battles in league history. Despite their fierce on-court rivalry, James and Curry have developed tremendous mutual respect over the years. Both players have openly praised each other's greatness, and many around the league have long wondered what they could accomplish as teammates rather than opponents. Reports suggest Golden State has explored creative methods of making such a partnership possible, including pursuing significant roster moves designed to attract James to the Bay Area. Whether those discussions ultimately become serious remains uncertain, but the mere possibility has captured the attention of fans across the basketball world. From the Warriors' perspective, pairing James with Curry would instantly create one of the most accomplished duos in NBA history. Their combined basketball IQ, passing ability, shooting, leadership, and championship experience would make Golden State one of the league's most compelling teams overnight. Questions remain, however. The Warriors are no longer the young dynasty that dominated the NBA several years ago. Much of the roster has aged alongside Curry, raising concerns about whether Golden State still possesses enough athleticism and depth to compete consistently against younger championship contenders. That reality may influence James' decision if winning another championship remains his primary objective. Meanwhile, the Lakers must begin preparing for life without the player who defined the franchise throughout the past 8 seasons. James arrived in Los Angeles during the summer of 2018 amid enormous expectations. While the first season ended prematurely because of injury, the Lakers quickly rebuilt around him, eventually acquiring Anthony Davis and capturing the 2020 NBA championship inside the Orlando bubble. That title restored the Lakers to the top of the basketball world and gave James his 4th championship with a 3rd different franchise, further strengthening his argument as one of the greatest players in NBA history. Beyond championships, James transformed the organization in countless ways. He attracted elite free agents, elevated younger teammates, maintained national relevance for the franchise, and consistently performed at an all-NBA level despite advancing age. Even during seasons that ended in disappointment, his individual production rarely declined. Throughout his time in Los Angeles, James continued rewriting the NBA record book. He became the league's all-time leading scorer, climbed near the top of virtually every major statistical category, and extended his career to a level of sustained excellence previously thought impossible. For those reasons, his departure should not overshadow everything he accomplished wearing purple and gold. Regardless of how his Lakers tenure ultimately concludes, James leaves behind one of the most impactful legacies in modern franchise history. Ironically, even after deciding to leave, James could still significantly influence the Lakers' future. Much depends on how his next contract is structured. If James ultimately signs with the Warriors, Golden State could potentially use its non-taxpayer mid-level exception to complete the move. Such a contract would likely require James to accept a substantial pay cut compared to his previous earnings, but it would also allow him to join Curry without forcing the Warriors into complicated financial maneuvering. A move to Cleveland, however, presents a very different challenge. The Cavaliers already operate with one of the NBA's highest payrolls, leaving them with limited salary cap flexibility. Under those circumstances, a traditional free agent signing becomes considerably more difficult. That is where the possibility of a sign-in trade begins attracting serious attention. Rather than allowing James to leave without compensation, the Lakers could work with Cleveland to facilitate a mutually beneficial transaction. One player immediately stands out as a logical centerpiece: Jarrett Allen. Allen has consistently developed into one of the NBA's most reliable starting centers. Known for his elite rebounding, shot-blocking ability, efficient finishing around the basket, and strong pick-and-roll chemistry with playmakers, Allen possesses exactly the type of skill set the Lakers have reportedly prioritized throughout the offseason. Since acquiring Luka Doncic, Los Angeles has repeatedly emphasized its desire to add an athletic rim-protecting center capable of complementing the superstar guard's offensive brilliance. Allen fits that description almost perfectly. His ability to finish lob passes, defend the paint, rebound at a high level, and anchor a defense would immediately address several weaknesses exposed during the previous season. Financially, the move also carries logic. Allen currently has approximately 3 years and roughly $90 million remaining on his contract. James could theoretically sign a deal carrying similar overall value, allowing both organizations to satisfy salary matching requirements while ensuring the future Hall of Famer continues receiving compensation appropriate for a player of his stature. Such an arrangement would benefit all sides. Cleveland would reunite with the greatest player in franchise history. James would finish his career where it began while joining a legitimate contender. The Lakers would avoid losing a franchise legend without receiving value in return and would simultaneously acquire the starting caliber center they have spent months searching for. Perhaps equally important, Los Angeles would not have to face James multiple times each season if he joined the Warriors. Keeping him in the Eastern Conference would eliminate the possibility of strengthening a direct Western Conference rival, while allowing the Lakers to fully embrace the Luka Doncic era without constant comparisons each time they played Golden State. Of course, all of these scenarios remain speculative until James officially announces his next destination. Free agency often changes rapidly, and negotiations can evolve within hours. Additional teams could emerge as surprise contenders, while financial considerations may ultimately shape the market more than sentiment alone. What is already clear, however, is that the Lakers have reached a defining moment in franchise history. The LeBron James era appears to have come to an end, closing one of the most memorable chapters the organization has experienced in recent decades. At the same time, a new era centered on Luka Doncic officially begins. Whether the Lakers ultimately receive assets through a sign-and-trade, aggressively pursue another star, or continue building patiently around their young core, every decision made from this point forward will determine how quickly they can return to championship contention. For LeBron James, meanwhile, the final chapter of one of the greatest careers in basketball history is about to begin. Whether that story concludes in Cleveland, Golden State, or another unexpected destination, the entire NBA world will be watching closely as one of the sport's all-time legends prepares to write the closing pages of an extraordinary legacy. We thank LeBron James for everything he has done for the Lakers. We wish him good luck in his future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.